It is common knowledge that everybody makes mistakes. In fact, one shouldn't be so hard on oneself when mistakes are made. While some mistakes can be overlooked, some others can be costly and have severe consequences. Some mistakes can be rectified easily without having to disrupt things, while for some mistakes, the only thing to do is start over from scratch. Today, we bring you some of the most expensive construction mistakes in the world, and we're sure that by the end of this video, you will agree with us that they are indeed expensive. Stay tuned to find out what the most costly multi-billion-dollar mistake in history is. But before we get into the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications on so that you don't miss any of the new videos we post. That being said, let's jump right in. The Walkie Scorching building. London welcomed an ambitious new skyscraper to its financial district in 2014. The building is a 525-foot-tall reflective building, which was nicknamed the Walkie-Talkie due to its distinctive curved design. Unfortunately, there was a problem with the building. As summer came, London citizens began complaining that the building's south-facing concave surface was causing strong rays of sunlight at certain times of the day. These rays of sunlight were so strong that it could raise the temperature to an unheard of 70 degrees Celsius. This temperature was capable of melting tiles. In fact, it caused a small fire on a doormat of a barbershop. A journalist even attempted to fry an egg in the extreme heat. As a result of this, the building's nickname was quickly changed to Walkie Scorching. A permanent sunshade called a brise soleil was attached to the building from the 3rd to 31st floor over the course of 6 months. This repair cost over $12 million, a hard pill to swallow considering that the building already cost over $250 million. Lotus Complex, Shanghai. The Lotus Riverdale complex located in Shanghai was an ambitious project that ended up being a complete disaster due to a simple mistake. The residential complex consisted of 12 new high-rise apartment blocks. On the 27th of June 2009, around 5 a.m., one of the 13-story buildings suddenly collapsed. Luckily, it managed to miss the surrounding blocks, thus avoiding a devastating domino effect. Though the incident killed one construction worker, the effect could have been worse if the almost completed building had been occupied by its buyers. Investigative findings showed that the accident was caused by non-compliance with construction standards and some seriously shoddy foundations. The earth beneath the building was excavated to make a 15-foot underground car park, and the soil had been piled up 32 feet on a nearby riverbank. It burst under pressure, sending water beneath. This made the foundation of the building muddy. As a result, the building toppled over to the south. If the excavated earth had been moved somewhere else, the whole disaster could have been prevented. This oversight caused a couple of investors to withdraw and demand their money back. The company suffered a total economic loss of up to $30 million, which includes construction costs and compensation to the would-be homeowners. The sinking giant. The construction of the Millennium Tower in San Francisco was announced in 2005. The 645-foot building was meant to be the city's largest residential building, the best place to live in. Residents promptly moved into their new luxury homes after completion in 2009. 7 years later, residents were told that the building was sinking into the ground, an expensive mistake which cost $350 million to make. With a $100 million repair cost and lawsuit filed against the developer, the cost will only continue to pile up. The CNA Center Chicago. This third tallest building in Chicago was and is still one of Chicago's most popular buildings. It was indeed a wonder when it was opened to the public nearly half a century ago. Though it was seen as an architectural hit, it turned out that the building had some serious architectural issues that turned out to be pretty costly. The building was entirely coated in Italian Carrara, a marble which gave the building its beautiful, distinct exterior look. Unfortunately, they didn't account for the fact that the material is very thin. It resulted in great slabs of marble detaching and crashing down into neighboring buildings. The entire building had to be resurfaced with a more suitable material, granite, which cost $80 million. The Millennium Bridge. The City of London, England, in the year 2000 unveiled a new Millennium Bridge, which goes over the River Thames. The bridge opening, which was supposed to be a triumphant way to welcome the new millennium, ended up being a costly disappointment. The bridge was closed only after just 3 hours of use. The reason was that the engineers who designed the bridge did not take into account the large number of people who would be crossing it. The bridge shook drastically once people started walking across. In order to make the bridge usable, $6.6 million was used to fix it, and that is in addition to the $24 million initial building cost. John Hancock Tower of Boston. The building, which was constructed in 1976, was plagued with so many costly problems, all due to poor planning by the architects in charge. The building did not absorb the wind like most buildings should, which caused it to sway drastically. The windows of the building also came crashing to the floor below because they were not built to take the heating of the panel. These issues were rectified eventually, costing $5 million, and of course, the time it cost also affected plans heavily. CNA Center Chicago. The red CNA Center Chicago represents another expensive architectural mistake. The building was constructed without accounting for the expansion of the building due to heat. This ultimately led to the windows of the building crashing down to the floor beneath. One of the crashing windows fatally struck a person below. It ended in a settlement worth $18 million, replacement of every single window within the 44-story tower, and a monthly inspection of each panel. Millennium Dome, London. The Millennium Dome was constructed around the turn of the millennium, hence the name. The dome was an all-encompassing state-of-the-art sports facility which cost over $1 billion to build. The structure wasn't built incorrectly, but it was unable to attract the crowds it was intended to attract, hence the disaster. Although they projected 12 million visitors in the first year, only half the number visited. The feedback was that the building was an unappealing look. A whopping $40 million was spent in the closing down and reopening of the dome. Sydney Opera House. The quintessential music house, which is also known as one of the world's most recognizable landmarks, has long been seen as nearly flawless. In reality, unknown to most people, the acoustics have been slightly off for decades. The Opera House and stage productions were switched, resulting in them being housed in different halls. This caused the acoustic to be disconcerted, making it difficult for musicians to hear the music that they played. With a $2 million renovation, the problem has been rectified. Seoul Bridge. The Seoul Bridge goes over the Han River. It links two South Korean districts, and it's one of Seoul's most popular commute routes. On the 21st of October, 1994, the 3,805-foot square structure was struck by a disaster. The bridge struggled under the weight of the numerous number of people commuting to work in the early morning rush. In the morning around 7:40 a.m., a 157-foot central chunk collapsed 65 feet into the river below, with race cars, minibuses, and a fully loaded bus on the bridge, leaving 32 dead and 17 injured. After the incident, an investigation was launched. The bridge had already received complaints about unstable foundations, which caused an unsteady swaying sensation. The root cause was because of a construction failure. The report stated that the steel trestle joint supporting the central suspension had been welded with an incorrect thickness of 8 millimeters rather than 10 millimeters. As a result of this, the connecting pins broke under the pressure of so many commuters. Though the bridge was designed to withstand the maximum weight of 36.3 ton per car, vehicles weighing up to 47.3 tons were also using the bridge. These combined factors cost the state council $185,000 in compensation to victims. Also, rebuilding the bridge set them back an equivalent of an extra $2 million. This indeed a costly mistake. Berlin Brandenburg Airport. The airport was designed and built to mark Germany's reunification after the fall of the Berlin Wall and is set to be the third busiest airport in Germany. Unfortunately, not a single passenger ever passed through its gate. The multi-billion-dollar airport was set to open in 2012, but the airport is like a deserted ghost town at the moment. The global financial crisis of 2007 and 2008 reduced the chances of contractors and investors' involvement. As a result, various politicians pitched in using public money with conflicting ideas. The capacity inside the terminal building at one point was doubled after construction had already begun. The airport company also realized that the designer had not accounted for any shopping, after which whole new retail floors were ordered. After such a setback, the invitation for the grand opening was sent out in 2012, but unfortunately, it was canceled when the entire fire prevention system was found to be inoperable. 550,000 faults were discovered after a reevaluation by officials. With millions spent each day in maintaining a disused building, the airport ended up costing $6.5 billion, which is over 3 times its original budget. With that, we have come to the end of this video. Let us know what you think the worst mistake was in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also share this video with your friends. Till next time, bye.